Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We have obviously discussed a lot of the top tier meta weapons in Warzone 2 thus far, and it's an ever-changing list. Every single season, a new weapon jumps up into that top meta category, or an old weapon dips out because of some buffs or some nerfs, right? But the off-meta weapons here in Warzone 2 actually compete really well for the most part. We have a lot of very competitive weapons that you might look at initially and say, not worth using, but actually some of them are surprisingly good. And today, we are breaking down 5 of the absolute best off-meta or underrated weapons to be using, starting first with the updating playlists. You can't script this any better. As I was saying, starting first with the TAQ-M. This thing takes a lot of getting used to. You know, it is a slower firing semi-auto gun, so it being semi-auto already is going to raise the skill gap on it. It being slower firing, raising the skill gap even more. But if you can consistently land shots with this thing, it is unreal the power that it brings to a gunfight. So if you have very accurate aim, or if you're just very good with semi-auto weapons, or you're looking to try something new, the TAQ-M is definitely one that poses a challenge, but it's high risk, high reward for sure. So first up here for the attachments, I go for the 3.4 times optic on a lot of my semi-auto guns. It just works great for medium and long range. It's easy to spot players, track players, trace players, stay on target while you're spamming your gun, right? So furthest eye position, faster ADS there. I go for the 20 round mag. This is the largest in this case. It is a slower firing gun. Like I said, the fire rate's nothing crazy here. So 20 should be totally sufficient. Even if you're fighting multiple enemies at once and trying to spam the gun as fast as you can, it's still going to take a while to get through all 20 rounds, right? I got high velocity on here, just going to make that mid and long range feel even more consistent with the hit reg with that better velocity. We also tune for a slightly better damage range as well. Edge 47 underbarrel, you could also go for Ripper here. Both of these are going to offer good stabilization. Edge 47 has a few less cons here, so that's my go-to usually in these cases. Better stability and stabilization on those tunes. Then I also go for the Sack and Tread 40, just because with some of the control here, if you are spamming it consistently, it's going to jump some. So this will help maintain some consistency and some, accuracy in those gunfights there. Better gun kick control and stabilization on these tunes as well. Like I said, this is a surprisingly good gun. If you can master it and if you can get used to it, it's going to work out well for you. Now, the SMG category is hyper competitive, right? We've got tons of really good options, and the BAS-P is one that is slept on because, quite frankly, in the first, 10, 12 meters, it doesn't have a crazy TTK. But then you get into, 12, 15, 20, 25, 30, that mid-range area for the subs, and the BAS-P kind of shines. It's really, really good in that area in specific. It also has pretty good mobility, and it's super easy to use. One of the lower recoil sub options here for, sniper support and for some of the mid-range engagements. It's actually a ridiculously good choice, right? But obviously everyone looks at the MP5, the MP7, the P90, goes, okay, these are the goats. This one is really good in a lot of ways too, right? So first up here, I don't really like the irons on the BAS-P, especially for the mid-range, not a fan. So I go for the basic blue dot, the Chrono Mini Pro, furthest eye position, faster ADS. Still rocking the 7 milliwatt laser. That said, if you wanted to jump down to, what's it called in this case? The AQ shot 5 milliwatt, just for the faster ADS speed, and it'll be a little bit less visible. You could do that too. This one obviously more visible, but also helps out with your sprint to fire, which is pretty clutch for an SMG setup. Overpressured ammo here because you don't really need a muzzle or an underbarrel to help control it. It's just so easy, and the barrels aren't really going to be doing much for you anyways. So overpressured gonna increase that flinch there and make it harder to land shots on you. I really like that aspect of it, and I tune for the better velocity and damage range here. 50 round drum, your basic extended mag, and then also the Bruin Flash rear grip, better ADS and sprint to fire, just gonna make this thing even more aggressive, and we of course tune to match that as well. So it's fast, it's easy to use, and in the mid-range for a sub, it's actually very, very competitive. Next up, we've got the Kastov 545, a super slept on rifle, because yes, we have things like the Hemlock, the TAC-56, the 7.62, they're all very good. The Kastov 545 is reliable and so easy. When you have things like the 7.62 that bounce around a lot, or the Hemlock that's been nerfed a little bit, the 545 is sitting here as arguably one of the easiest rifles in terms of control. It's very minimal, effort here to actually make this thing shoot straight, and it's TTK, it's a realistic one because of that accuracy, is going to be pretty competitive in the grand scheme of things. So this setup, you don't really have to do much for the control, so you can really maximize its lethality in the mid to long range. AMOT V4, furthest eye position, faster ADS. 45 round extended mag, you could also jump up to 60 if you wanted to. It'll be a little bit slower, but just totally preference based there, honestly. High velocity ammo, again, for that consistency in the mid to long range. Better velocity, better damage range on those tunes. Echoless 80 suppressor, better velocity, better range, very standard, gonna keep us off the compass as well. We tune for the better velocity, and then some better ADS speed as well. And then lastly, I go for the IG-K30 barrel, which is better velocity, better control, better damage range. This will give you the best velocity out of all the barrels. That extended damage range is also super nice, and some free control as well, right? Like kind of best of all worlds there. Better damage range and steadiness on the tunes for that. If you're looking for a gun that you don't have to work hard to use, this is one of the best options in the game right now. Now, as we get into our last couple of options here, quick reminder, if you guys are new to the channel, I'm your one-stop shop for all things going on in COD, and we are on the road to 1 million subs. So if you want to stay up to date with everything, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. Also, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you find it helpful at all, let me know by dropping a like on it as well. Would be really appreciated, and it does really help the channel grow. Now, next up, we got another weapon that is not used a ton. I think it's, pick rate's going to start increasing a lot here right now. The STB-556 rifle. This has seen some solid buffs recently, but still a lot of players look towards the TAQ-56, the Hemlock, the M4, the 7.62. This thing's a beast. Also, very low recoil, just like the 5.45, super easy to use, and its TTK is phenomenal, especially in the mid to long range. So you're gonna be frying, you're gonna be able to consistently land shots on targets without much effort. It's checking all the right boxes, basically, right? So here we got AMOT V4, furthest eye position, faster ADS, per usual, right? 42 round extended mag is the max here, so of course we're gonna be running that. High velocity ammo on here as well, better velocity, better damage range on those tunes. Again, it's so easy in terms of control. I don't feel like you really need to be running an underbarrel here, so we just go for the rear guard barrel instead. Better range, better velocity, better pizza Papa John's. We get the better damage range and steadiness on the tunes for that. And then once more, Echoless 80 suppressor as well. Same deal as back on the 5.45, better velocity, better ADS speed. Each of these rifles really are worth dropping in and seeing how you like them, because they're easy, they're gonna be reliable, you can't really go wrong with them. And then lastly, we got the FTAC Recon. Whether you're trying to use this as an aggressive close range, like spammable weapon, the mid range, the long range, it's versatile and it's gonna be dominant if you can land your shots, just like the TAQ-M semi-auto. So higher skill gap, you have to have good tracing, you have to have good tracking, you have to have a decent trigger finger as well. If you can get this gun down though, it is, again, higher risk, very high reward. It's going to feel very strong, very consistent. 3.4 times optics, just like over on the TAQ-M, furthest eye position, faster ADS. We also got the 15 round mag here. This is the max in this case. So again, you got to be mindful of that ammo. This is not a ton in comparison to like the TAQ-M even. You can burn through this pretty quickly. So you definitely want to keep that in mind. It is one of the drawbacks of this gun, maybe makes it a bit harder to use, but again, it's that skill gap that if you're looking forward to trying to master a weapon and actually work to do well with it, this is a solid choice. High velocity ammo, better velocity, better damage range on the tunes there. Edge 47 here as well. Ripper would also be a good alternative if you want. Better stability and stabilization on those tunes. And then also Sack and Shred 40 yet again, just to make sure that if we are spamming, the kick's not going to be too much to overcome, so we can accurately spam back to back to back and land shots consistently there. Better gun kick and stabilization on those tunes. Overall, this solid choice. All the other choices as well, though, slept on like crazy. These are all super good weapons that people just overlook for the easier or more meta choices. All these off-meta options are very fun to use, and honestly could get buffs in the future here. You could be ahead of the game, already used to the weapon, and they get buffed and they feel even better than before, right? But that said, those are 5 of the best underrated weapons right now. That's gonna wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications to always stay up to date with all things going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.